President Trump was the first Republican to carry Michigan since Ronald Reagan in 1988. He had outsized success among non-college educated voters and even among traditional Democrats. In the mid-1980s, pollster Stan Greenberg coined a term for these types of voters in Macomb County, Michigan. He called them Reagan Democrats because they'd shifted from supporting President John F. Kennedy to supporting President Reagan. Greenberg helped his then boss, Bill Clinton, move those voters back into the Democratic fold. President Obama got more than 50% of the vote in Macomb County twice. But last November, President Trump carried 54% of the vote there. To figure out what changed and what it means, Greenberg returned to Macomb County and sat down with voters who'd backed President Obama and then backed President Trump. And Stan Greenberg is with us now from Washington. Stan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
So such an interesting read here. You write that these voters had no quote-unquote buyer's remorse. What is it that these voters are expecting from President Trump? And also, is there a time frame that they are giving him to produce results?
Well, not now. I mean, they are digging in. They trust him whenever they see him on TV. The press conferences that are attacked by the media, for them, it just affirms their trust in him to make these kinds of decisions. And they want change. I mean, they want big change. They don't know how to describe it big enough. They want to change everything. And these were the change voters in the primary, we know, for him, but also in the general election. So that's what they want to see.
And you talked to these voters in mid-February. They kept bringing up the Affordable Care Act, but never mentioned the word repeal. What do they want from President Trump and Congress on this issue?
They want Trump to fix the healthcare system, and it's, it was pervasive. I mean, throughout, all four groups. I was really stunned. It was actually one of the things that really surprised me, that they could tell you to a penny how much their insurance costs, what the deductibles were, and they were really at the edge and angry that they thought the, Obamacare in their terms, they thought was supposed to give, them health insurance, but they couldn't afford it. They were required to have it. They were paying fines. They had big deductibles. So they expect him to fix it. And those are their words. They expect him to fix the healthcare system.
And so what are the stakes on this healthcare measure? Who stands to lose the most if it fails?
Well, the stakes are very high because it's almost like the premier promise that he made that he repeats all the time. But they look at this through the lens of that he was the anti-establishment candidate in the primary. He ran against his own party, and they know that the leaders there opposed him. And I know that Breitbart has played the audio of the Ryan distancing himself from Trump, but they know that. When we show visuals of Ryan in the groups, they said he didn't support them, and they clearly have a narrative, at least their first interpretation will be that the Republicans in the Congress didn't support him, and they watched him abandon the generals when a mission didn't go well. That was probably a signal to Republican leaders, be careful, because he has the ability to distance.
Well, a key theme from your work is that these Trump voters see the president as distinct from the Republican Party. Given your conversations and your experience, do you think that these Reagan Democrats might eventually shift from the Republican column, maybe even back to the Democratic column?
Sure. Look, I mean, there were a lot of things that we're at a point in time where they think the opponents have not accepted the election results. They think that there's a civil war taking place on the street where the opponents have not accepted the election result. They feel they're under siege in their own families. Their kids, a lot of these are older voters. Their kids can't believe they voted, for Trump. Their kids in school were being harassed, and so they're really under siege and are very protective of their vote. And so I think let's not lose track of the fact this is 2 months in, and the election, in their view, is still being contested, and so they're locking in behind their vote. Now there clearly were areas that there where we doubt if they really cut taxes only for the top and not for the middle class. If the health care doesn't get fixed in some way, I think that that's going to be an important price. If he isn't really creating American jobs, I mean, those will be the standard.
All right, Stan Greenberg in Washington for us. Stan, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.